We all make questionable mistakes along the way, like trying to watch all 3 Lord of the Rings extended editions without going to the bathroom. But I bet you never created a supervillain bent on human extinction or forgot to call a powerful intergalactic being when Earth is invaded. MCU heroes may seem like they've got things under control, but many of them, well, they make some questionable choices that leave fans thinking.
Not a great plan.
Today, we're going to look at 10 questionable character choices made in the MCU. Steve Rogers crashing the plane. Now, all heroes make tough decisions in the nick of time, but Steve's decision to crash the plane into the ice is kinda not the best plan. Captain America, the Winter Soldier, proves that he can dive from a plane without a parachute or throw himself off a building all without a scratch. In Captain America, the First Avenger, Cap has control of the plane. The bombs weren't on any timer or set to explode. The bombs required pilots whom he'd taken care of. He demonstrated he can eject the bombs. Why was it so urgent that he couldn't take a few minutes to develop an escape plan? Maybe try to land it on the ice, or look for a parachute, or land it in some very remote runway, start a fire, jump out, or any number of other ways to cause the plane to crash in a way that would allow him to escape. Maybe he didn't want to have that dance with Peggy after all. Creating Ultron. All right, let's face it, Tony Stark is wildly irresponsible. He has a track record of creating villains like Iron Monger, Whiplash, Vulture, Mysterio, anyone that watched Iron Man 3.
I'm sorry.
So you'd think when he decided to create Ultron, he could have taken a few steps back and thought, hey, Tony, maybe this Ultron thing is going to blow up in my face like all the other times. I know, I'll create a big fluffy marshmallow character that heals everyone instead. That turns out well, right? But can anybody just make a peaceful robot? Jeez. Okay, after Tony coaxed Bruce Banner to create Ultron, surprise, surprise, Ultron goes rogue and decides it's best to wipe out the human race, which leads to the death of many, many people. It also marked the beginning of the end of the Avengers, since Tony and Steve argued about Ultron and no longer trusted each other as much as they did before. Kissing Sharon Carter. In the MCU, the great love of Captain America's life was his beloved Peggy Carter. However, in Captain America Civil War, Steve and Peggy's great-grandniece, Sharon Carter, share a passionate kiss. Now, not only did fans find it awkward and weird, but if you think about the ending of Avengers Endgame, it kind of makes that kiss even worse. Technically, Steve was kissing his own great niece. Initially, the filmmakers wanted to have a full-on relationship between Steve and Peggy in Infinity War, but that idea was scrapped. Probably because it would be awkward when Steve goes back to stay with Peggy. You think he ever told Peggy, "Oh, by the way, I made out with your grandniece"?
No, I don't think I will.
Lying to Tony about the death of Howard and Maria. Now this is another
No, I don't think I will.
moment that Steve is lying to Tony about who killed his parents. Captain America may act as a leader and an all-American hero, but he sure does like to keep secrets and protect his terrorist best friend Bucky.
Wait, Tony.
Even after Bucky almost chokes out Black Widow, tries to shoot Tony Stark in the face, and Rhodey almost dies attempting to stop him in Civil War. Cap will ruin the entire Avengers for his best friend. And to protect Bucky, Steve doesn't tell Tony that he knew Bucky killed his parents while he was brainwashed to act as the Winter Soldier. Now this is clearly big news to withhold from someone who you consider a friend.
Did you know? Yes.
But Steve does it anyway. By not sharing this information with Tony, this, of course, leads to a big fight between the trio and the events which unfold in Captain America Civil War. Not contacting Captain Marvel earlier.
Well done.
In Captain Marvel, Danvers gave Nick Fury a way to contact her before leaving Earth to help the Skrulls. She said it was for emergencies only. Do you want an emergency? Let's go back to the first Avengers movie, the one where the Avengers are clearly in over their heads against Loki and an intergalactic threat. You know, the one where every person on Earth was in danger? Sounds like an emergency. Better page Miss Marvel? Nah, let's just give Tony PTSD and make matters worse for the MCU later. Okay, maybe that wasn't enough to page Captain Marvel. Let's move ahead to Avengers Infinity War. Holy crap, there's literally a giant onion ring coming down from space with Thanos ready to destroy Earth. What was Nick Fury doing? Was he at Starbucks? Maybe Captain Marvel wouldn't have saved the day, but it certainly wouldn't have hurt things. Instead, Fury waited for the snap and half of all life to disappear before he finally caved in and called Carol to Earth. And what if he had faded away before paging her? What if he'd been taking a nap or something? Endgame would have looked a whole lot different without Captain Marvel. Playing with an alien cat. Now, speaking of Captain Marvel and Nick Fury acting like a fool, in the Captain Marvel film, it finally explained one of MCU's biggest mysteries, how Nick Fury lost his left eye. And it wasn't some cool way of losing his eye like in the comics where he loses his eye in a Nazi grenade blast. No, in the MCU, Fury lost his eye because he played around with Goose, a highly dangerous alien species named Flurkle, who could easily kill people. Look, normal cats are already bad enough as it is, so this was just a plain bad move from Nick Fury. Yet he provoked Goose until the alien cat scratched his eye out. It makes Fury look like an idiot. He reacts in a way that is completely unbelievable and ridiculous. Oh, so she scratched my eye and I might be half blind now? It's cool, no biggie. 'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off. No, it isn't.
Not going for the head. Though the Russos touched on it a while back, they addressed Thor's decision to go from Thanos' chest rather than his head in the audio commentary in Infinity War. Joe and Anthony explained why Hemsworth's hero did what he did, saying Thor didn't go for the head because he wanted to get revenge against Thanos and wanted to say it. I told you I'd kill you for that line. So Thor's arrogance and questionable mistakes are even worse. He doomed half of all existence for the sake of monologuing.
Sly dog, you got me monologuing.
Let's say he didn't go for the head or the chest. Fine. He could have gone for the arm, which probably would have been smarter. Cut off the arm and boom. You can't snap your fingers when you don't have an arm attached to the body. Problem solved. Hey everybody, we won't be paging Carol Danvers because Thor went for the arm. We're all good. Quill losing his cool and punching Thanos. Now, speaking of other questionable choices made in the MCU, let's look at Peter Quill. In Avengers Infinity War, they had Thanos defeated at this point and were about to get the glove off. While some have come to the character's defense, the directors of Avengers Infinity War have now come out and said, yeah, it's pretty much all his fault. According to Joe Russo, that was the turning point of that scene. Again, these are flawed characters that make emotional choices, human choices, we get it. Had Quill not done that, the movie might have ended right there. Once again, no need to page Carol Danvers, we got it covered. No reason for Thor to go for the head because Thanos is defeated. The movie's over, everyone can go home. Look, all the MCU characters are flawed, but come on, Quill. You guys had Thanos, and you chose to ruin everything because you couldn't keep your cool. Steve and Tony not discussing the Accords together. Ultron might have started the disagreement between Captain America and Iron Man, but the Accords finished it. Both Steve and Tony made bad decisions with the Accords. Tony was advocating some accountability and supervision. Even then, he tells Cap that the Accords are still in draft form and anything Steve doesn't like, he can object to at the UN. Sounds fair, and the Avengers will work around it. Yet Steve refuses even to meet Tony halfway, and Tony reacts aggressively, and immediately both of them create a rift causing the Avengers to break up. At this point, they should have left Hawkeye in charge of the Avengers. He could have been pretty chill and listened to everyone's issues before throwing things out of control. Because Tony is terrible at letting go of his anger as he tells Steve in Endgame
that what we needed was a pseudo armor around the world. Remember that?
Well, that didn't work out, did it?
I said we'd lose. You said we'll do that together too.
the biggest threat to the Avengers has been Tony and Steve's ego trips, and the Accords proves it. Finally, Thor destroying the Rainbow Bridge. Now, Thor destroying the Rainbow Bridge at the end of Thor is meant to be like the movie's emotional center. After dealing with Loki and seeing all the damage he's done, Thor must break the Rainbow Bridge so that Earth may never be toyed with again. Now ask yourself something. What are you doing? Why does Thor do this? What purpose does this serve, either narratively or in the universe? The Avengers completely ignore the plot point, allowing both Loki and Thor to travel to Earth with no real issues, and Thor destroying the Rainbow Bridge doesn't make sense in his own movie and his own character. It's later ignored by the rest of the series. It had zero weight, and it didn't make sense to Thor as a character.
Not a great plan.
Right now, another questionable character choice is why Falcon didn't keep Cap's shield. It's what Cap wanted and what fans were excited about, but obviously Falcon didn't want the commitment, even though he's still working closely with the government. I guess we'll see how that pans out in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.